Hello, welcome everybody. My name's Cody,
My name's Zach.
and welcome to episode 4 of the Moody Sports Podcast.
That's right.
Today's lineup, we got the Astros, and talking about the ALCS Game 1 and Game 2, some individual performances and such like that. Talking about the Cougars as well, Houston Cougars, our hometown team, the ECU game, who they just played, and our predictions on the Navy game, which is coming up.
That's gonna be a fun one.
And then we also will talk about the Texans and their games and our predictions for the playoffs and the future games to come.
And the offensive battle that game was, huh?
Oh,
Really just throwing touchdowns all the way downfield the whole game. To the wrong teams mostly, but hey, you
Hey.
take what you can get.
win's a win.
All right, man.
Starting with Game 1 of the Astros, ALCS, what are your thoughts of the performance that the Astros did? Of how well the
In
Astros played?
game one, man, it was a lot of fun to watch. Having just runs light up that scoreboard. I felt like the game was never in question. I guess just that we have the veteran experience of just being there last year. And they made a big note this year of just not having a slump. Like a world championship hangover. It's been very important to them, and I think they've followed through with that very well. So I mean, it really showed in that first game. Having the scoreboard up, having the score up early, I think was really exciting for us. And it's just we never really let our foot off the gas. What did you see? Because I know you're more experienced.
I'm more of the baseball
You're
guy.
more you know the in and outs of baseball. I just saw something fun. What did you see? Give me
We'll
your expert
start with
opinion.
Verlander and his, in my opinion, amazing pitching performance. Though on stat sheet his ERA is like 4, which I mean isn't the best ERA, but isn't the worst. For the most part, he dominated, only allowing 2 hits on 2 earned runs in the 6
Yeah.
innings he pitched.
That's crazy.
6 innings, I believe. Yeah, 6 innings. And his stuff was moving. His pitches were doing what they're supposed to at the right locations. So I think he helped fuel the win, but also the bats, the Astros. They never really let off from the end of the season.
Yeah, man. They're like magnetic, dude. They just
And-
attract that baseball.
The
Slapstick, dog.
in the ALGS, which is they played the Indians, I believe. They just dominated both
Oh,
sides,
that
and
wasn't
again,
even a series. That was brutal.
yeah,
That was a
we just-
brutal game.
that was a clean sweep.
brutal series. My fault.
But for the most part, I think the Astros just straight dominated. Good performances from Marisnik with the home run. Not Marisnik, sorry. Reddick with the home run. Gurriel with the home run late to set that win for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I think if there were any holes in that boat, they were very small.
very, very small.
So I mean, across the board, just strong performances. On to a little bit of game two, a different story. Astros losing that one 7-5, I believe.
7-5, yeah.
7-5. You know what? It was expected for the Red Sox to come out swinging this time.
Yeah.
And it's important that we didn't win it, but I still think, we have the upper hand, especially bring it back home.
Mm-hmm.
Get the 2 here. We're moving on. But even if that doesn't happen, if it's 2-2, I still think. I mean, we have it. We have it in the bag. Just because I think we have, a deeper lineup. I don't know too much about our pitching staff, but I've always heard this every week, and every time baseball is mentioned that those Astros they got the craziest pitching staff.
In my opinion, they have the best starting staff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I hear a lot, and I'm not going to disagree because, frankly, I don't know. But you know what? If I'm going to keep hearing good news like that, I'm all for it.
Individual performances with the game 2.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion, Cole didn't pitch as well as he normally does. His location was off. I was watching some of the game, and a lot of his pitches were in the heart of the plate, belt high, which if, I don't know if you're much of a hitter, but if you get that pitch, all right, hitter's eyes get big into fat watermelon, sending it 500 feet into the orbit.
In high school, as a senior, I averaged .222. So your boy was out there swinging.
But so his pitches.
I know a little bit about hitting. All right.
Some of his, my opinion, just his pitching in general. Cole's pitching in general was not the best. Giving up runs early in the third inning, which, in my opinion, was a nail in the coffin for that game. The Astros really could never recover, and then a few late scores just set the game for Boston. Predictions. What do you think the next two games are going to be? Like, how do you think the Astros are going to do?
The next two, I don't know if I can predict the next two, but I can give you 100% certainty on this next one that Bregman is going to have that locker room on fire before they head out there, and they're going to put a whooping on them. I think that first game, you know what? No. Moody Sports Podcast exclusive. We're coming home with a dub.
Coming home with the dub?
Coming home with the dub.
That's
on
my
this
prediction. I believe they're going to go 1-1. The game
at home, really?
Yeah, 1-1 at home.
I mean, I know Boston's good. I know as much as that one. They've the little I've heard that this is what the championship is. Like people are saying that these are the two better teams right now left in the playoffs.
By far the better teams.
By far. So knowing that, I think Boston's gonna have, they're gonna come out and compete, and they can take any game they want if they really go out there. But the Astros are the same way. If the Astros, whoever shows up early, they're going to win. But also to say that both these teams are resilient. They don't get to these spots in a long, grueling season by not being resilient, So, yeah, but, I mean, I'm not going to predict two games simply because I don't know. By next week when we release the next episode, this will all be over, and we'll be talking about whether we're in it or we're out of it, and probably moving on to the World Series. But I'm going to say we win this next game. I think we get it. I'll say this much. I don't know what the series outlook will be, but I think we're moving on.
All right. I think my prediction on this game, the next two games, is we're gonna go 1-1. The Astros winning the first game by a lot again, and then losing the second game. Kind of similar to game 2, losing by a couple runs, just because Boston is just so resilient and a very good team.
Yeah, they are.
But I believe the winner of this next game, Game 3, is going to go on to the World Series. They'll be up 2-1 in this series and only have to win 2 games versus 3. So that's a much larger chance than
win one game, right? Because it's best out of 5.
Best of 7.
It's best of 7 right now?
Pretty sure it's best of 7.
Okay, I don't know baseball, man. They change it from best of 5 to best of 7?
The 1-game series, 5-game series, and I think it's 2 7-game series.
Baseball's stupid, man. Nah, I'm kidding. I'm excited about it. Hey, more of the Astros. I'm pumped. I'm ready for that.
I'm just excited to watch the next game.
Yeah.
All right. Cougars game.
Oh, yeah. Here we are.
How do you think
give us a score real quick.
Score of the game is 42-20.
Who won?
Cougars did.
That's right.
Of course they did.
That's right.
It's ECU.
That's right.
They're not the best team.
I told you.
My opinion, though, is the Cougars could have played much better on defense, though. The fourth quarter was more like the scrubs playing, and they let up 2 scores. The game wasn't as close as the score seems. There's only 3 possessions. I mean, 3 possessions is still not
even the score doesn't look that close. 42-20. I mean, we put a hitting on them, especially because I told you our stats earlier before we were talking about and setting up what we're going to talk about. That our starters went 42-6 against them. Didn't even let up a touchdown.
That is true.
That's nice. That's fun. That's fun to see especially because a big concern for a lot of Cougar fans on the message boards and ourselves too. We've been talking about this. Is our defense has looked lackluster. Our defense has been kind of front 7 always looks great, but our cornerbacks were looking a little rough. But a big push was that defensive line. This game really helped with getting that quarterback out of his comfort zone real fast.
I agree. Just a few stats. U of H had a total of 406 yards versus ECU's 415.
Listen to this, guys. Cody said that was below average earlier. 406 yards.
Okay, we've been. I say
spoiled.
I would say we've been spoiled.
We've been more than spoiled. Oh my goodness.
This, in my opinion, offensive juggernaut that is our team. Dude.
Yeah, we're crazy.
I can't think of the last time we scored under 40.
We haven't done that this season.
Oh,
we have this season. We have not scored
under 40. That's insane. But yeah, but just how they played, it wasn't their best game.
It didn't look like what was happening was great, because we scored early. We had those 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. Went to halftime, what, 21 to
21-3.
21-3? Yeah. So I guess just because it wasn't consistent,
Yeah.
it didn't look great, but the numbers, the touchdown numbers particularly, not the offensive numbers, but the touchdowns looked great. And then we also had that defensive touchdown off of the back of an Oliver sack.
Yeah.
First of the season right there. It's crazy to think one of the best defensive linemen, the best defensive lineman, I'll go out and say that, in the NCAA, had not had a sack yet.
Just the like, with normal people watch football, they don't understand the whole mechanics behind it. They see as like sacks as being like dominant or whatever.
Not us. We're not normal people. We're super we're football experts right here.
Pro experts.
That's right.
Sponsored by ESPN.
Boy, no, we ain't.
But they see dominance as like sacks, tackles for loss, fumble recoveries, defensive touchdowns, et cetera, et cetera.
The highlight plays.
The highlight plays. But like I see dominance as you have to be double and triple teamed in order to be stopped. But at the same time, as he's being double and triple teamed, he's still causing mayhem in the backfield.
Yeah, he's still getting his. Like even man, I think he leads the NCAA in tackles for losses right now.
Does he?
Yeah, and it's hard to. I mean, you might want to check me on that, folks at home. But yeah, I mean, as of last week, I believe he did. I saw that last week, and he can't be stopped. Even yeah, sure, the offensive line wins a few, but you always know that he's going to get his. There's never a worry that he's going to be shut out of the game because he just can't be. His engine won't let him do that. His motor is so just 100% every second, every play, that he's going to have a play just because the other team is going to get tired, or they're going to take one off, or they're going to think that he shoots a gap and he gets through there a step quicker simply because he just won't let himself give up. It's fun to watch him. He's going to be fun to watch at the next level, but we'll talk about that bridge when we get there, huh?
Yeah. MVPs of the game.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Oh, my gosh.
Wow. MVPs of the game.
MVPs. Give them to me. Who's yours? Offensive MVP.
Offensive MVP, I would say De'Aaron King.
The guy with only 209 yards and 2 touchdowns? You're crazy.
I mean, though he didn't play his best game, he made the right throws, made to the right time. 2 touchdowns in any college game, I would say, is an okay performance. But because, in my opinion, the offense was kind of lackluster, though they only played the first 3 quarters, not even through all the way to the third quarter. They play kind of lackluster, but I believe De'Aaron King shined more than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And on defense, it's got to be Ed Oliver with his 2 sacks and then a fumble that led to a touchdown. It was quite clear Ed Oliver was the best player on that field at that time.
Yeah.
And I think that he's my defensive MVP.
Yeah. On the offensive side, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Courtney Lark. Had a great game, 3 receptions, but those 3 receptions totaled into 79 yards. So big plays all around. His longest of 38, which means, he was running quite a bit. Had himself a touchdown too. Big help for that. We can talk about De'Aaron King all we want, and he's great. But it really helps that, looking here, that, Courtney Lark was the leading receiver with 3 catches. Everybody else had 2 or less. I'm sorry. No, there are a few more with 3. I'm sorry. But what I mean is he was the leading yard getter with 79 yards, next to 76 by let me find it real quick. Oh yeah, Keith Corbin. It's a little hidden from me. But yeah, he really led that receiving unit, that receiving core, by just getting open. Those ECU defenders, they weren't ready. This is our MO. Go run, we're gonna go deep, and we're gonna go catch it. And they knew that. Everybody knows that, and they still couldn't stop us. These guys are great receivers, and we're lucky to have them. And just it's different a little bit, especially coming off of last year. Usually, U of H historically, in this past decade, is, we're gonna throw the ball every play. You'll be surprised if we run it once or twice. But as of last year, especially under Applewhite as the new coach, it was different to see our offense struggle, and there was no downfield passing. So this year, having a receiver core that can do that, is really fun. That's why I'm going to give it to Kikor. Maybe not just because of what he did this game, but because of just the turnaround we've had offensively from last season. I know we keep talking about last season, but man, it was good. It was fun to watch, and to beat up on the guys we should beat up on. That's always good for U of H. U of H tends to play to their competition, whether that be down or up. They'll play their competition. So this one, they really kept it far away. Defensive MVP. Shocker, it's at Oliver again.
Yeah.
2 sacks, a fumble, which was then picked up and scored on. He's all over the place. He demands triple teams. If you do a double team, you've already lost. What can you ask from a guy? It's insane to think that we have that in our front set. And because of him, he's also going to be this is a little tangent, but he's also a big reason that players that would probably go to other schools, they want to come here because they see him as, hometown hero. He's doing great things here at the University of Houston, and he's getting shots at the NFL. He's a top 5 pick, top 3 pick. That we're bringing in kids that usually wouldn't come here. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that, but as of just the game individually, he had probably his best game of the season.
He had 5 tackles for loss on top of those 2 sacks.
Yeah, he's everywhere. What are you supposed to do? If I'm an offensive lineman, man, I'm still having ice packs on today.
Well, I'll have nightmares the entire week, and then ice packs the entire next week going into the next game, dealing with him. Predictions for the Navy game, who they're playing next.
For the Navy game?
Yes.
Man, Navy, they always got some running quarterback, triple option, which U of H struggles against. They struggle against the Navy. I don't know if it's a triple option, but they struggle against the Navy.
Most teams struggle with the triple option because it's very difficult to stop.
Yeah, it's outdated, too. It feels weird, right? Seeing it in that formation, because, that's like a high school offense. Or at least where I played, small town football. That's old school football.
Yeah, it is.
So
it is.
It's just weird to see in the college level a quarterback stick his head down and run for 8 yards. Right up the middle. Nowadays, that's if you do that, you're risking your quarterback's life. But Navy, their quarterback's usually their best runner. Was it not last year or 2 years ago? Their quarterback was their leading touchdown.
I believe so.
Yeah, he had 60 touchdowns that year.
60. I don't think he had 60. I think he had 60 his career, but I don't think
60 his career. You're right. That makes way more sense. What am I saying? 6 touchdowns a game.
Oh
yeah. But
that'd be a great game to watch.
That's what I'm saying though. Navy, that's what they do. So it's definitely you have to plan differently than you would any other team.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I guess now I'm less worried because after this game, I know these two teams are not the same. Even though Navy isn't off to the roaring start that people thought they would be, I'm not very much worried about it as much as I would be. I still expect Navy to get theirs, and I think it could be a close one, but I still see us pulling it out.
I think the score is going to be.
Yeah, what do you think the score is?
Oh, what do you think? I would say, what do you think the score is going to be?
Oh, okay. What do I think the score is? Man, I'm not going to be dumb. I'm going to say we still score over 40. Keeping that tradition alive. Let's stick with 42. I think Navy gets. Obviously, they're going to score more than ECU. I think 30. 42-30.
42-30?
42-30.
So I'm going to challenge you on that because I don't think U of H is going to score 40 points. Because
blasphemy.
Because
get out of here.
The triple option is such an efficient offense.
It's time consuming.
And it just drives go for 7 minutes, 8 minutes.
Yeah, you're
easily. Right. So because they take so much time off the clock, I don't think they'll score 40. I think they'll score 28 to 30 points. And I think U of H is going to come on top because our offense can't be stopped.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to stop.
The problem you often run in with these types of games is that if Navy's defense plays mediocre, if they play average, and they get, a 3-and-out every other drive, then U of H's defense is going to be out there for a long time. Yeah. And that leads to tired players, and that leads to backups being in, which really ruins things. So if that happens, I could see Navy winning the game. But also, Navy doesn't have the firepower they used to. Their players aren't the players they were, the last couple of years. So in those games, it was worrying. But this one, I don't think they have the mettle that those past Navy teams did. I think we'll be fine. I do see what you're saying though. Yeah, Navy is gonna grind that ball, dude, for 7 minutes, whatever at a time. It's gonna be a long one. Which hey, that'll be fun to see in the hot sun, won't it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, hot sun. So I'm thinking like I said, I'm gonna say 31-21 as a score. You with U of H on top. Just because it's going to take them so long to score that they're not going to be able to score so much. And I think our front seven is good enough to stop them from getting large gains, stuff like that. So I think the game is going to go 31-21.
All right, put it down, folks. Pencil it in. All right, Cody, what's that next one we got on that sheet?
Texans game, Bills game.
The offensive juggernauts.
The offensive game that sure was 20-13. Texas came on top.
Offensive genius Nate Peterman versus
MVP for the Texans was Nate Peterman.
Yeah, he was.
As soon as he came in, I had a very good feeling the Texans were going to win.
Guy gave us the ball twice, man. That's the best thing he could do for us, especially because Deshaun Watson gave it to him twice. Glad he gave it back to us.
Nate Peterman is not the best quarterback in my opinion.
Shocker, dude. Shocker.
Two picks on back-to-back drives.
Really coming out with a bold opinion.
Yeah, hot take, kids. So overall, though, I don't think the Texans played their best game at all. 3 turnovers and a defensive touchdown. So they had 1 offensive touchdown.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what the Texans are used to seeing. I'm not saying the Bills are a completely bad team, but I'm also not saying that they're a good team. The Texans. I think the
Bills are not. No. I'll come on and say it. Bills are not good. Bills are bad. They had a guy quit on them at halftime. They're bad.
That is true.
And the Texans refused to score on them with the offense. I mean, our kicker had almost as many points as we did touchdowns, touchdown points, right?
He had 8. He had 8 out of the 20 points.
Our kicker had more points than our quarterback.
MVP the true MVP of the game is Fairburn, in my opinion.
That's crazy, man.
Without his 2 kicks and extra points, we would have lost the game 13-12.
He had 8 points.
Yeah. The kicker had almost the same amount of points as the offense.
No, he had more.
It was 8-12.
Defense
oh wait, no.
Scored.
Yeah, the defense scored. What?
Yeah.
So wow. That just shows that the Texans offense is very lackluster this year.
And really what really stood out to me is that on that offensive side is we blocked a punt and we were at or inside the 20, settled for a field goal.
I think the difference between this year and last year is the Texans last year could finish scoring the touchdowns in the red zone, and this year they can't.
But also last year we were bad. This year we're less bad? Question mark. I still think at the beginning of our start of the podcast when we were predicting what the Texans were going to do, I said 8-8. We're sitting right at 8-8. Place your bets, folks. I think we're headed for another wonderful 8-8 season.
I'm going to be optimistic and say 9-7.
Shooting for the stars.
Shooting for the stars.
But now we know that there's a shot that we make the playoffs.
There's a shot we win the division. Which is
ridiculous.
Week 1, we were thinking, might as well start taking now, guys. Like, if they lose the next game, but they won the next 3 games.
My thing is this division is so weak. Coming out of this division for the playoffs still doesn't mean much. We thought the Jaguars were going to be the first team in a while to really show that, hey, we don't all suck. You know,
but like, the Cowboys.
Cowboys put a beating on them.
Yeah, just beat down.
40-3.
40-7, I think. Was the score.
7. It was bad. It was double digits to single digits. Put a whooping on them. And the Texans got. Have we played the Jaguars?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think we played the Titans. We lost the Titans. We didn't play the Jaguars. So yeah, no, we're another great outing this season from the AFC South.
As always.
As always, yeah, they've really been showing up for these past couple weeks.
Though they didn't do very well, Texans had 150 rushing yards, which isn't too bad. Deshaun Watson was 15 for 25 for 177 yards with 1 touchdown and 2 picks. But he was also sacked 7 times.
Great job, offensive line. I've been talking nice about them all year, and then this happened.
Lamar Miller had an okay game, 15 carries for 46 yards. Alfred Blue did okay with 7 carries with 28 yards. So
They need to give that guy the ball more.
I agree.
I think move him into the starting running back position instead of Lamar Miller.
They only had 24 rushing attempts the entire game. 24 rushing for about 75 yards. I believe they need to run the ball more. I mean, considering the staple of the offense is running the ball on first down and then play action on second or third down, depending on the down and distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe that they need to run the ball
it's simply
more.
just because it's the NFL. Teams that throw the ball the majority of the game, they don't win, or they don't win championships. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The Patriots, Tom Brady's great back there, but the big news is because they can rely on their running game when they need to. You know, they can go out and get 3rd and 1, and they don't have to worry about throwing it. They can just line up, grind the ball for 3 or 4, and set back up with that passing game. Texans can't do that, or they refuse to do that. I think it's both. I think they just can't, but they're not willing to try. I will say this: even though we had 7 sacks, our offense gave up 7 sacks. We were not the worst out there last week. Thoughts and prayers go to Marcus Mariota of the Tennessee Titans, who was sacked 11 times.
AFC South.
11 times. Oh my gosh.
Welcome to the AFC South, boys.
Oh my gosh, man! I'd be asking for retirement, or I'd be asking for all the nice cars I bought all my offensive linemen. I'd be asking for those back.
Franchise record for the Ravens that game. 11 sacks.
That's crazy. I can't remember, but it's been forever since there was an 11 sack game.
I can't remember the last time a game over like double-digit sacks.
Yeah. I mean, that's 11. That's concussions, dude.
And
Just
they
from
were
your head hitting the ground.
They were on pace to catch up with the Jags. They were on pace. Them two were neck and neck the entire time. And then the Texans and the Colts, but we won't talk about the Colts. We're far behind, but now the top 3 in the division are all tied at 3-3 with Tennessee on top because of a few tiebreakers, which I find kind of ironic considering they gave up 11 sacks and didn't score a point last game.
Yeah, that's weird. All right.
Predictions for playoffs and records. I guess we already went over this. Texans, we said 8-8. I'm going to say 9-7. I'm going to say they make the wild card, but lose in the first round.
Yeah, unless we play those Bungles. I hope the Bungles break out and they go in there and win because, man, it's always great to play them in the first round. All right. Predictions of the next game.
Play the Jaguars,
just the score, yeah.
I think the Jaguars are going to win, although the Texans need to win this if they have any chance of winning the division. I think the Jaguars are going to win 28-7, 28-14, because although they got the Jaguars got absolutely spanked last game, their defense is very good.
Yeah. One of the best. Show it last week.
Yeah, one of the best in football, in my opinion. So I think the Texans' lackluster offense is going to clash with the I would say a very above average defense. And not score very many points.
The best defense in the AFC South. Not saying much there, but definitely the best defense in the AFC South. It's weird. They say defense wins you championships, but, I mean, offense wins you games, you know? And nobody in the AFC South has that. Everybody just has good defenses, but nobody has good offenses.
The Jaguars were supposed to have a decent offense with the Leonard Fournette and the receiving core they had, but Blake Bortles is.
Yeah. Then they scored once against the Cowboys. So.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right. My prediction for the Jaguars. It's at there in Florida. So I think we lose it, but I'm gonna say it's close. I think we've come off strong. Where we have 2 wins in a row now. They'll beat the Cowgirls. 3 in a row. Did we drop? Oh yeah, we dropped 2 and then we won 3. You're right. I was thinking we've played 6 games.
We have played 6 games.
I think we keep it close because I think the Texans come out with some heat, you know. But I still think, you know, that the Jaguars are going to be able to pull this one out. I'm not going to predict the score, but it's going to be close. A low-scoring, close game.
So like a 14-7, 10-7 kind of game?
I'm thinking like 13-6.
13-6?
Yeah.
You don't think the Texans are going to score a touchdown?
I think they will.
But
They just won't make the field goal.
You're gonna say the GOAT,
The
Fairburn,
Fairburn,
is not gonna make that field goal.
offensive MVP.
Oh
He'll
god.
be the Texans' leading scorer this year, by like a lot.
Which
lot
is
of points.
not a good thing to say, but
He'll outscore the rest of the team. Like, not just one player. Like, he won't be the best player. He'll be better than our entire offense. And that's if you were to count a quarterback's touchdowns and a receiver's touchdowns. If you were to count every touchdown for 12 points, I still think Fairburn's going to have more points on offense. All right, a little bit of stuff right before we go. We're about to let y'all out, but right before we go, tomorrow, it's Christmas. We're playing the Pelicans. The Rockets are playing the Pelicans for the first game of the season, October 17th. It's the real deal. Sound the alarms. We're getting
the season
going.
starts now.
It starts tomorrow. Yep. I'm excited, man. I'll be watching that game for sure. I'll have all the popcorn out, man. Get my giant soda pop, and we're gonna be sitting down watching NBA basketball all day.
I'm excited to see how this Rocket team does.
Oh, dude. Oh, yeah.
No, last year, everyone was saying, "Oh, you can't have two ball handlers have the ball at the same time."
Those people are idiots.
And they had the best record in the NBA, or in the Western Conference, and arguably would have won the Western Conference if Chris Paul didn't get hurt.
Yeah, but we're not here to talk about the past.
We're here about talk this year.
Next week we'll have some NBA news for you, some real stuff, not just preseason stuff or, look forward to basketball. So, yeah, thanks for listening to us ramble on for a good 50-something minutes. But please follow us on Twitter at Moody Sports Podcast, and also subscribe here if you'd like to. I mean, hey, we don't have the greatest opinions, but we got them at all, That's more than you can say about a lot of people. So, yeah, thanks for watching.
My name's Cody.
My name's Zach. We're glad you're here.